want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
We are the Mad Men of Masculinity.
Your home for healthy masculinity. We're just real men having real conversations for you. Hey, here we are.
Yes.
It is that time.
It is that time. What time is it? It is that time.
It's Mad Men time, baby.
Hey, if you don't know, you better know. I am Kirk M. Samuels.
And I am Jason B.
And
Kendrick.
Oh, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Why you gotta cut me off, man? I can't even say my name?
Yeah, say your name again.
Wait, see, now I can't even do it. This is wrong now. This is wrong.
I'm sorry, man. My bad.
Dude,
Hey, I'm Kirk M. Samuels.
And I am Jason B. Kendrick.
And we are the Mad Men of Masculinity, baby. I'm the rude one in the room.
And we're just real men, obviously, having real conversations for you. And as you see, we're not perfect. Obviously not.
No.
But what we want to know is, are we dangerous?
We keep it real, man. We keep it real. We ain't trying to be all fancy and, showboat and all that kind of stuff. We just keep it real, man.
I mean, if you want to pay us, then maybe we'll get more fancy right now.
We just keep it real. Just two regular dudes, man. You know what I'm saying? Two regular dudes, man. Speaking of regular dudes.
Regular dudes in the house.
Hey.
Regular things.
So, we kind of had some pushback.
No, we had some
feedback, pushback, push up, push in, push out.
I got to go dirty already. We just started.
Just on some of our interwebs. I'm gonna keep going. Just on our interwebs, and we realize that a lot of this that we're doing, man, it's detrimental. It's contrary to a lot of the ecospheres that are out there. It's contrary. It's somewhat controversial. It's somewhat, a lot of it makes people feel uncomfortable because we talk about stuff in ways that don't normally get talked about. And we realize that this message of healthy masculinity, especially promoting masculine stuff, masculine concepts, and masculine all those kinds of things, it can be downright dangerous to the status quo.
Well, definitely dangerous to people's status quo, their echo chamber, to their only hearing the same thing over and over again. Yeah. Why are you looking at me, Nikki Nicole?
Nikki Nicole, stick
your head around the corner in my peripherals. I don't know what's going on. Because you didn't turn me up.
Nice. All the way up. But yeah, man,
mess with my volume. There we go.
Come on, man. What are we doing? Are we doing radio?
I think we're doing radio.
You guys are so unprofessional.
When the producer's telling me, apparently she's going to clean it up later.
Nice.
So anyway, talking about are men dangerous? Because this is what we to get back on point. We had some feedback, and from one of our other episodes, and what we basically came down to was someone was attempting to box us in as men and curtail or decide how we should do our show and how we should do our message. And it seemed like she thought maybe we were dangerous because we were attempting to promote healthy masculinity, but not with a feminine viewpoint, with a masculine viewpoint. And so we decided, well, what if men are dangerous? Or is a dangerous man a good man? What do you think, sir?
We were coloring outside the lines. We exactly. We were coloring outside the lines of somebody's comfort zone. And so, I mean, basically that begged the question, after a beautiful round of golf, it kind of prompted the question of a man being dangerous. Like, is it good or bad to be dangerous? I mean, for a man, a healthy man. I mean, can a healthy man still be dangerous?
I think to that point, a truly healthy man, it has to be a dangerous man. It's kind of the whole warrior in the garden thing. You would much rather be the warrior in the garden than a gardener in the war. So are you a man who has the capabilities and knows your capabilities and has the skill set to protect yourself and your family? Or are you the nice guy, safe guy who, if he's called upon to be your protector, doesn't have that skill set and can't actually protect? I mean, how can you look at someone in that scenario who does not have the skill set to be a protector or to be someone who takes care of his family in that way and call him a good man? Now, he might be a nice man. He might be very pleasant to be around. But is he really a good man if he can't protect and provide that safety for his family?
I think some people who like to put things in a box, who like to draw imaginary lines around stuff, would think that if you are not in that box, then you'd be dangerous. Here's a prime example word picture that just popped into my brain.
Word pictures.
You go to the zoo. See, the zoo is created to keep animals within a certain confined space in a certain confined area. Now, let's just say, you're standing at the lion exhibit. I like the gorillas. Let's go. The gorillas are my favorite animal at the zoo. All right. It just is what it is. Don't judge me. I just like the facial expressions, and they just sit there and be like, what you looking at, fool? Like, you paid to come in here and watch me? I'm just going to pick my nose. I'm just going to do whatever I want to do. So I like the gorillas because of that, man, because they kind of relatable a little bit. And sometimes you can see their expression. Anyhow, I digress. So you're at the zoo, and you're at the gorilla enclosure. Here in Denver, it's kind of like a building where the gorillas have an outside part and the inside part, but for the humans, it's inside. Now, when the gorillas are behind the bulletproof glass and when they're inside their enclosure, it's entertainment.
Yeah, it's safe.
If a gorilla happened to be seen walking down the pathway outside the enclosure where we are, it's dangerous.
Yeah, well,
it's a wild animal. It's a threat.
Yeah.
Somebody go get the tranquilizer gun. It's time to take King Kong down. He's on the Empire State Building.
Right. Well, I mean,
same gorilla, same zoo.
Yeah, same gorilla, same zoo, but it's all about, what's the potential threat. And I think where we get into the difference between a truly dangerous man who is a good man versus a weak man who is truly a dangerous man is because of those different characteristics. Because a truly dangerous man who is a good man is a man who has seen his shadow side, who knows his capabilities, knows what he's capable of, isn't really afraid of his skill set or what he's good at or what he is capable of, but knows those things and keeps it under control. I mean, you look at something like Beauty and the Beast, great story, and you talk to a lot of women and they want that beast. They want that alpha male. They want that gorilla, if you will, but they want him to be civilized and tamed. But they still want him to be dangerous, and that's what they love. They want him to be dangerous and strong and all these different things, but they also want him to be civilized and all that. So is that guy more appealing than the nice guy who isn't dangerous? I would say yes, because the statistics would say that as well.
See, you're a little bit younger than me, so you tend to go a little bit faster than me. You go a little deeper when I like to, work the surface a little bit.
All right, work the surface. Wax on, wax off.
It's hard for me. I mean, it's hard for me. I got to get there. All right. Get there. And I'm still kind of.
You need that blue pill action.
Hey, slow down there, fella. Slow down there, coaches. Pump your brakes. Don't make me come over there, even though you're 2 feet away. Young fella. So my point is, this whole concept, man, because I think we've been chewing on this for several days at this point, but somebody else, the whole idea of dangerous. Well, could dangerous be relative? Could dangerous just be a matter of your expectations? And again, back to the whole zoo thing. So if I expect the gorilla to be in the enclosure, then it ain't dangerous. But when he gets outside of my predefined comfort zone or expectations, then all of a sudden, oh my goodness, we got a 400 or 500 pound gorilla, who's coming to kill me, even though gorillas are vegetarians. But either way, all of a sudden he's a threat. And so I'm thinking from a parallel perspective, us as men, I feel like culturally, when we're in the enclosure, you can be as wild as you want, as long as you do it right up in there in the walls and in the paradigms and in the norms and in the all that kind of stuff that we set up, and some of that we is modern feminism. But as long as you in that, then have at it. You can lead me as long as you do it the way I like it. You can be nice and manly as long as you still sacrificing for everything that I have and expecting nothing from me. So I feel like as long as we are in that enclosure, as long as we're in the predefined playground that is set up for us, on a football field getting CTE for your entertainment, then wow, okay. Or whatever that may be. But I feel like culturally speaking, that's kind of the mental setup that it is these days.
Yeah, just that we want you to be nice and dangerous. We want you to be that strong man, but we want you in this safe box, in this safe container where we get to decide how dangerous you are, how to utilize your strengths, or we only let you out to be quote unquote dangerous and a savage for our own ends versus allowing you to make your own choices and allowing you to be the leader to lead this journey and this adventure that we're on. And so I totally agree that what we are seeing now is a lot of let's put them in a box and keep them safe instead of allowing them to be truly responsible men who can own their own dangerous side and make it part of themselves. So yeah, I think probably part of that feedback that we received was part of that, was that they wanted to put us in a box and tie a little bow on it and say, okay, you can be what you want to be. You can do that healthy masculinity stuff, but you got to be in our little box where we want to keep you.
And it's normally people from the outside.
Yes.
Again, I go to the zoo. I'm from the outside, right? I might be a member of the zoo. I might be a patron. I might buy me a Dole Whip ice cream that day. I come in to visit. I don't live there. I don't work there. I'm not part of the establishment of the zoo, right? I'm just a partaker.
Right.
So when I come in there, I'm coming in there from a partaker. Yeah. And what we have seen multiple times already is that people from the outside who come in to get their own little Dole Whip cups and, they come in for a little sample. You might hear a sound bite here and there. They might hear one little comment. They might, refer back to somebody that's been on the show 3, 4, 5 years ago and something obscure that they wrote in some book that they wrote 10 years ago, et cetera, et cetera. They come in, they get a little snippet, and then all of a sudden from the outside looking in, we're dangerous.
Yeah.
From the outside looking in, I need to give you some feedback.
Yeah.
You don't know us. You don't know our circumstances, our story. You're not even like part of the tribe. Comment. Speaking of comments, by the way, if you're watching us live right now,
Mad Men Radio on Facebook.
Oh man, you can on Facebook. You can put a comment in there, and we'll see. We'll put up on the screen. JB can make you famous.
Yeah, look, Boris is listening.
Boris. Oh, that's my college roommate, dude. That's my college roommate, dude. Yo, B. Oh, B-Lat. What's up, Bo? My man. Oh, dude, I didn't know he was in the bullpen, man. Oh, dude. No, man. My dude, man. College roommates, dude. Senior year college roommate. And your senior year college roommate is the one you choose. Yep. That ain't the knucklehead that you just happen to stumble with. The senior year is the one. Man, we had a blast, dude. Man,
we have to talk. I want to hear some of those stories. I know there's stuff. No. Yeah, see, I know you got the dirt.
X-Men on the Oregon. Bo, we don't tell them nobody. Anyhow, so back to the so people normally from the outside that aren't even a part of the inside. They don't
know our intentions. They don't know what we're planning. They don't know why we're doing this or what we're about and how we go about that. They're not even in the radio or podcast industry, but they have a lot of opinions and a lot of feedback to give us. And
speaking of the radio podcast industry, I think we're gonna take a break. Let's take a break, man. Take a break for the radio crew out there. We got some stuff that needs to be said in between this conversation. You know what I'm saying? Station, shout out Crawford Broadcasting, all that kind of good stuff, friends and family around. So we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Dude, man, me and Bo had some good time, dude.
I'm telling you, when you said college roommate, I'm like, I need to talk to this
guy. We had some good time.
I need to get some background on my man here.
The thing I didn't like about Bo, and if he's still listening, Bo was like ripped. He was shredded. He was always in shape, but he never went to the gym. I'd never seen him. He like in his room working on something like that. I mean, I had don't get me wrong. I had Milo. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was an animal in the jungle back then in college. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, Bo was. But yeah, we had a 2-bedroom joint. His bedroom was like the furthest back toward the balcony. Mine was the furthest one. Anyhow, but man, let me tell you how fly I was in college, dude. Then we're gonna get back to it. I was so fly. I had a green leather waterbed. You don't want none of this. You can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth, dude. That's how I was getting down.
You know why I'm
laughing? I had a green leather waterbed, yo.
Let me tell you, this is why I'm laughing, because after I got out of service and I went and got my own place, I had the faux waterbed that looked like it was a regular mattress. Yeah, had the mattress ring around it, but there was a waterbed in there. Man,
dude, I had my joint.
That thing so many times I had to throw it out the window.
And mine was heated.
Oh, well, see,
Dude, I had the heated green leather waterbed. You couldn't, man. Don't play with me, man. You can't handle the truth. I'm telling you, man. Colonel Jessup up in this joint. All right, anyhow.
Balling out of control. All right, we're going to take a break. Come right back.
And we're back, Men of Masculinity, baby. 12:20 a.m. in a Mile High City, KLDC, and on the interwebs, everywhere. Oh man, we record these things. Normally we do it on Monday as a holiday yesterday, so we came in on Tuesday. But when we record these things, we just stream it as we're recording it. And normally, if you catch us on one of them bad boys, you're gonna hear some stuff in between breaks that the FCC may not want us talking about today.
Yeah, we have had some feedback.
We've had some feedback. That's pretty entertaining.
That watch us on the interwebs enjoy the breaks almost more than the show, which I'm not sure if I should take offense to that or not. But
I think that's just because we get
the sprinkles and the cherry on top for them.
And where we got that from, because my college roommate jumped in and let us know he's listening, and so I had a flashback from college, some of them stories, and y'all don't want none of this. You ain't want none of this smoke in college. I'm just telling you, dude. I was on active duty, so I was getting a paycheck, man. And I was on scholarship, man. You ain't want to do it.
And you was in college.
Those were the best 4 years of my life, man. Trust me. Anyhow, so back to talk about being dangerous, dude. I was dangerous, not so great way.
I can resemble that real well.
But when we're as men, we're dangerous and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, a lot of times there's people from the outside looking in, telling us what we should and shouldn't be. And normally it's not somebody on the inside. Normally it's not a man telling us feedback that is unsolicited.
Yeah, I think that's where we
need to get better.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that we've come to, especially doing this show for so many years and now being on the air, is that we were happy to take your feedback and we will use it and we will dissect it and take, eat the meat and take, spit out the bones kind of thing. Though the ones that we actually really listen to are those that are in our inner circle, those that are following our path and know what our intention is and what we're doing. And for a lot of men out there who are dangerous men, who know your capabilities and keep those under control and keep that in your back pocket, is that's there for when I need it, an emergency break glass, dangerous man kind of thing. You need to listen to those guys that are on the same path with you and take their feedback and not listen to all that noise from the outside, because it's nice. We've really started to look at those things as all publicity is good publicity, so we'll take it, and we appreciate all the feedback, and we do look at it. Is that true or is that not? But if it's not coming from our circle and those that are on the same path, you're going to be as dangerous as we can be, because we have a mission in life to promote healthy masculinity through this show and through the podcast and over the air. And if we get some feedback and we get some blowback, that's part of the road. That's the road that makes this journey worthwhile for us and for everybody that's on the path with us.
You got to be ready for that heat, and we're ready for that heat. We're okay with all that feedback. One thing that we observe though is that the people with the most specific and the most here's what you need to do for your audience are people who are not normally in our audience. Most of them are not healthy or male, and so so it is what it is. And I think a dangerous man is a good man. I think a nice guy can never be a good dangerous man.
No.
And I think every man should have other dangerous men in his life.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, both of us having our military background, I know I've spent a lot of times with special forces guys. Guys that do MMA, things like that, martial arts. And those are the guys that I have the most respect for and tend to be the nicest guys that I ever hang out with, because they have the experience, they've done the training, they know what they're capable of. And so now they don't have that underlying fear and that have to have that bravado and be all loud and crazy and stuff like that. These are the most calm guys I've ever come across. They may not look like the nicest guys if you don't know them, because you see from outside like, dude looks dangerous as all get out. But he's not, because he knows his capabilities, he knows his strengths, and he's comfortable in that. And that's what makes a dangerous man a good man, because he knows he can take care of himself. He knows he can take care of the family. He knows he can take care of his business. And I think, to Kirk's point, nice guys are not good men. They are dangerous, but they're not good dangerous men. They're just dangerous because they're manipulative. They're always looking outside themselves for their own validation. They're always trying to manipulate the situation to get something out of it instead of just being upfront. Plus, they're coming from a weak foundation. They don't feel confident within themselves. They don't know what they're capable of. And because they don't know what they're capable of, they haven't entertained their shadow side. They haven't entertained that part of themselves that could go dark. And they're trying to hide that part. They're trying to keep it under wraps. And then when you do that, when you shove that down, it starts to come out sideways, come out the other side, and then it comes out in those unhealthy ways.
Everybody want to be a Navy SEAL until it's time to do what Navy SEALs do. Everybody want to be a lion until it's time to do lion stuff, right? And a whole lot of single women want a real man until they get a real man and realize that a real man ain't gonna take no mess. A real man ain't impressed with your fantabulous career and all your stuff. And a real man ain't even really impressed about your booty and what you got on the outside, all that kind of stuff. A real man ain't impressed with all that kind of stuff. I want a man that'll lead me. Really? Do you? Or do you want one that'll kind of do the things that you want to say? And so, it's one of those, and Navy SEAL, a perfect example. We kind of lift them up in our culture, especially over the last 10, 15 years or so. But Navy SEALs are trained assassins. They are trained literally, all they do all day, every day is trained to go kill somebody, not to go, do heroic stuff, saving buses from falling off bridges. No, they get literally paid to go kill somebody. Captain Phillips, you've seen that movie, them guys put bullets in heads, that's just what they do. And so, and so even as we lift them up as, great American heroes and warriors and all that kind of stuff, you got to realize that, they're dangerous. But a lot of times, like you said, they recognize their dangerous part, and they're not impressed by it. They got nothing to prove because they know who they are.
Well, I don't even think it's as so much about them knowing how dangerous they are. Is they have actually gone to the dark side. They've gone to that shadow side and embraced it. And Kirk and I have had this conversation on the golf course several times where we talk about a lot of guys, especially nice guys, are so afraid of that dark side. They're so afraid of that, maybe what you might want to call bad or evil side. They're so afraid of what might be there, or what they're trying to hide, that they don't ever embrace or even look at it to see what strengths might be there, because anger and violence can be good things when used appropriately. But if you're afraid to even go down that way or even accept that part of yourself, that energy is going to come out some other different way, and usually in an unhealthy way. And so guys like that who have done the training and know their dark side, have done those evil things, or those, depending on your perspective, good or bad things, however, depending on which side of the line you're on, they know what they're capable of. And so by accepting that other half of themselves, they're more whole beings and they're more grounded in who they are. And so it's not a matter of, we're talking, the top 1% or 0.01% of guys out there when we're talking Navy SEALs. But for us regular guys, we still need to know our shadow side and know what we're capable of, so we can be whole and healthy men. And that may come from training, that may come from working out, that may come from doing personal development work, but acknowledging that there is a part of us that we can go as bad as anybody else, and taking that for what it is and integrating that within the rest of ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, great alley to go down right there in terms of, a shadow side of us. And, if you're a man, you probably know that there's part of you that maybe sometimes you're not really proud of necessarily, or maybe there's part of you, there are parts of you or some places you can go. Yeah, maybe it's a woman thing too. I don't know. I've never been a woman. Not every guy can say that. And so, maybe there's parts of you that even scare you. Maybe there's parts of you that's like, man, I got a lot of good in my heart, man, but I know that if I let that animal hunt, that animal's going to do some damage.
Yeah.
And so,
I got a story along those lines when I come back from this break.
But and so I think us as men, when we acknowledge that, first of all, acknowledging that shadows, acknowledging that, man, there's parts of me that I don't want to let loose. There are parts of me that need to be in a cage, right?
Acceptance is the first step.
Right. And just acknowledging that, not denying that. And I think when you get to a really evolved place, you actually I'm going to say embrace that. You embrace that as part of, Batman is called the Dark Knight. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's actually, if you follow that folklore, he's actually a bad guy that just does good things. He hates other bad guys for whatever reason, because they killed his parents and all this other kind of stuff. But either way, that shadow side can be something that we tap into for strength when things get bad, when things get down, when we really need to step in, with some big energy. I was about to say something else there, but when we really need to step in with some specific energy, that's the side you tap into. And so I think that shadow side, not only do you have to acknowledge it, But I think when you get to the point where you can embrace it and, and still like be okay with yourself, still, still proceed forward, then you're in an evolved place.
Yeah, I mean, when you go through the struggles of life and when you're presented with those people, those weaker men, those loudmouths that want to give you a hard time, those, if you haven't had that experience, if you don't know how to go dark, if you don't know how to go there and to protect yourself and to get violent or to get, take care of business, as it were, that's where you get a lot. It will turn in, that energy turns inward, because now you're like, well, I'm not really a man and I can't protect myself and all those different things. So I have a story about my dark side when we come back, but we know we got to pay some bills here.
Yeah. Well, I think, even before that, I want to, so the twist that I had in this whole thing, and I think it'd be a great setup. The twist, and I told you I had a twist when we was up there eating after golf. I think the difference is, are you dangerous for something or are you dangerous to something? So are you dangerous for, or are you dangerous to? Are you dangerous for truth, justice, in the American way? Or are you dangerous to your family and your kids and your significant other and to society and all those kinds of things? These young, lone, violent males that go and do mass, damage in buildings with innocent people, they are dangerous to society. But you take that same instinct or that same whatever, who's willing to go jump out of an airplane at 30,000 feet and do a halo into a hot landing zone, or jump into a covert helicopter, land on a compound, and go up 3 flights of stairs until you see Bin Laden at the top of the stairs. It's kind of the same animal, but just dangerous for something as opposed to dangerous to something. And so I think that's a huge kind of pivot onto the concept of being dangerous. Nobody wants to be dangerous to their family, and to the people around them. But it'd be nice if they understood that if something go down, I have the ability to open up a can and handle some business up in this bad boy.
Yeah, you need to know that about yourself, and if you don't, then that's probably where a lot of that self-judgment comes from. And knowing that part of yourself and knowing what you're capable of will give you more peace than not knowing.
A lot of people that in our particular state, you can get concealed carry permits.
Put that thing away.
Oh, hey man, that's for sure. Anyhow, a lot of people can get concealed carry permits, and the common thing that I've heard and learned from a lot of people that are concealed carriers are that they are the most level-headed person in the room. Like, they are the most non-assuming, generally speaking, non-egotistical person in the room. They're very stable. They're not trying to cause nothing. They don't want to start nothing, but if something pop off, they're definitely willing and able to finish whatever it is. And so again, I think a huge difference is dangerous for us or dangerous to. So let's be dangerous to this break. Actually, that's not. A break is a good thing. A break is a good thing, man. Mad Men of Masculinity, we are on KLDC 1220 AM and on the interwebs everywhere. We will be right back. Boom, diggity. I was gonna say when I carry, I'm normally,
right.
But I figured I'd make it broad.
Right.
I don't want nobody other than everybody that's listening right now, the whole entire world. No,
we packing.
It kind of is what it is. Whatever I got to do, I do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but I do notice though that I tend to be, when I'm in that space, man, I tend to be more like,
more calm.
I'm cool. I'm still, sheepdog. I'm still kind of looking around, even if I'm not. But at the same time, it's a good confidence. It's a confidence like, I got nothing to prove.
Yeah.
I don't have road rage. When we go into a restaurant, I'm not complaining about nothing. I'm pretty unassuming.
Yeah. Well, that's part of that. Why we're doing this one, because when there's repercussions that may be available for
consequences and repercussions.
That's right.
Yeah.
Then it does calm you down. It's when you don't know that you have the capability that it causes issues, I think, in your confidence. So Denzel. So
boom.
And we're back. Mad Men of Masculinity on KLDC 1220 AM in the Mile High City. Guess what, folks? We're talking about a dangerous man.
Hey, super producer Nicole, how you doing? She said fine. I know. They can't hear in the radio.
Just had dead air 'cause
That's all
I
right.
can't hear her.
We'll say. She said, I'm doing good, but they can't hear me on the radio. But she's still fantastic.
She's fantastic.
I need to know how you're doing. They don't need to know. You know what I'm saying? I need to know. You got the scarf on today. I can't call you Skittles because I can't see your hair. Is pink?
Ooh,
Oh man.
Strawberry or cherry? But it's pink hair now. So strawberry. Okay, she's more strawberry than.
You're like Lucky Charms or Tricks or
Skittles.
I like Skittles.
She likes Skittles. She does want people to line up and go for the rainbow. I mean,
she's not dangerous. I'm gonna move on. She's not dangerous.
Well, she can be dangerous to us.
Well, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. You're not dangerous to us, although you can hit a mute button anytime you want. Nobody can hear.
So. She's dangerous.
But you're dangerous for. You're not dangerous to anything. That's the difference.
Yeah, you are very dangerous to or for us because if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be doing this. So.
Absolutely. Yeah,
we're safe. Okay,
absolutely. Good. So dangerous. I mean, as men, again, I think for all of the reasons that we just talked about, I think it's not only good to be dangerous for something, but I also think as men, we need to be part of wolf packs, or at least some wolf packs that are dangerous. I mean, I hang out with the 8th degree black belt sometimes, and again,
nicest guy.
Perfect example. Yeah. Perfect example, man. This guy's the most zen kind of guy you'd ever meet, but he can straight karate chop you from the front of your throat to the back of your throat.
He can punch the front of your chest out the back of your
chest. He can reach into your chest and pull out your heart while it's still beating and then throw it away.
If you want to learn how to do that, you can look up Chris Natsky because he is the man.
And so, perfect example right there. But I think us as men, we need to roll in some circles of some guys that need to throw down.
Yeah, I mean, iron sharpens iron. Yes. And speaking of that, I mean, my story basically comes in. This is one of the reasons I stay as calm as I am, and it's so just easy going because.
Good story, by the way.
Wait for me to get to it.
I'm letting everybody know. It's a good story. Go ahead.
I can't even tell my story. Look what I got to deal with, y'all.
I'll tell you what happened. What happened? He was doing it, and then this guy.
So anyway, thanks for giving me that intro. I appreciate that. So anyway, when I was in the military and started really getting into martial arts, one of my best friends, there's 3 of us, and we were studying from another friend of ours who was actually grew up. His dad was a grandmaster. He was teaching us, and so on one of our, I think it was my last TDY to Sardinia, my best friend had many bottles of wine, was belligerently drunk, and of course, being my best friend, it was kind of my responsibility to take care of him. Well, at one point, I pawned him off to one of the other younger airmen. And then after a while, I was like, all right, where'd they go? So I went to go find him. And then during this whole rigmarole, trying to get him back to the rest of the crew and get us back on the bus and everything like that, I lost my temper. And I usually try to keep a very cool head. But, this was somebody I sparred with and whatnot. And there was this moment where he took a swing at me. I just reacted. I don't remember actually hitting him. I literally saw red and responded. And then I blinked, and my buddy's laying on the ground with his nose and his mouth bloody. And I'm going, uh-oh. And so I know what I'm capable of. I had the experience, and it wasn't really a pleasant experience because it was one of my best friends. And to have this experience, not even realizing, you hear people talking about seeing red. I actually saw red, hit this dude, didn't know I actually hit him. Basically, blink and wake up and take a breath and go, my best friend's on the ground. And now I know what I'm really capable of, even though I've been training and doing all these different things until you have that experience. And so in some cases, you need men around you to train with to kind of let the steam out, deflate a little bit of that so you're not all pent up and you don't explode on anybody like I did. But when you have that experience or you know what you're capable of, it helps you remain calm because you know that arsenal is there. You know that weapon is there for you to utilize. And to Kurt's point earlier about being concealed carrier, you have that protection with you. It makes you more calm and more present.
Next time you knock somebody out, you need to lean over while they're on the ground and say, "You got knocked up." Anyhow,
radio man.
Oh my bad, FCC. Oh, yeah.
I thought you were gonna get us kicked off.
No. And then she left the booth, so we can't. She can't hit you.
Yeah, she left the booth because she thought you were about to get us kicked out the air.
She's probably ain't nothing to do with them. But I mean, when you do know you got some. In my case, I've had a couple of those scenarios where, I did kind of lose it. I did kind of lose it. Very rarely. I would say my shadow side over the course of life has been really my shadow side has been like addiction. Like that has done a lot of damage in my life. I've been dangerous to my family. I've been dangerous to, the stability of the home. I've been dangerous to, my career. I've been dangerous to a lot of things. I wasn't definitely dangerous for a lot of things. And then, ironically, when I got free from that, I became dangerous for some things in a good way, because of the dysfunctionality that I had in my relationship at the time. It got to the point of being codependent where, the dangerous too was kind of almost beneficial to the whole thing in a weird twist. Anyhow, I digress. But in my case, the shadow side. But I've also come to understand that my shadow side, I can tap into that darkness. That shadow side has actually made me value connection and intimacy and vulnerability and all those kinds of things like I never have before.
Yeah.
I mean, and once I put that out there, it changed a lot of things. Did we ever acknowledge Denzel on here?
I did. I said, "Hey, Denzel."
I thought you were talking about like me looking like Denzel Washington. That's what I thought. I thought you meant, oh, you look just like Denzel. Oh,
yeah, that's what I meant.
He got that good hurt. Just like Denzel.
You see what I got to put up with Denzel? But no, that's a good
King
point.
Kong ain't got nothing on me.
We got to get him off caffeine. But no, that's a good point. Like, you were a danger to your family because of your addiction, and now you're a danger to what was your addiction because of all the help you do with other men, getting them off of those things. And so those shadow side, those things that may be a challenge for us can become our greatest strengths, but it's an accepting of that. And I think even in relationships, I think one of the things that is such a detriment to relationships nowadays is men are not embracing that shadow side and not being willing to cut the cord, to leave, to do all these, to basically be dangerous in relationships, because women want to know that their man is dangerous and that there is a line that they can't cross. And so many nice guys nowadays just keep moving the line. They just keep pushing back. Like, she does this. She has tests him. She crap tests him. He's like, oh, okay, well, let me move the line. So now she's got to go she's got to go harder next time. She got to go deeper in the paint. She's got to get even crazier. And so, well, he's going to move the line. You got to have a structure to create that foundation. You got to be the structure. You got to be the riverbanks for the river. And if you keep moving the banks, then it just washes out. You got to be able to be like, look, that's as far as you're going to go, honey. This is the boundary. And if you don't have a little bit of shadow in there, you don't have a little bit of a dangerous man in there, you can't hold that boundary. Like, at some point, there is no more retreating. At some point, you got to turn around and fight.
Yeah. And again, I keep going back to it, but we're talking about a good kind of dangerous. We're talking about, a dangerous that is not fearful. Although, I mean, fear is good in some ways. Fear is, parallel to respect. But I'm not talking about fear in terms of people around you worried about being harmed and all those kinds of things. So that's what I'm talking about, being dangerous for something. When you have purpose in your life, and when you're dangerous for constructs like addiction, or when you're dangerous for ideals like racism, sexism, when you are dangerous by putting on your superhero costume and say, you know what, I'm going to do something about this.
Where is my super suit?
You know what I'm saying? And so when you're dangerous for all kinds of good things, then again, you're not looking for validation. You're not a nice guy, because a nice guy cannot be a good, dangerous man. You can be dangerous to a whole lot of people around him. But anyhow, so I mean, I think the huge difference is that. But when you have that true sense of healthy danger, then you're really not afraid of the status quo.
I think we should make a delineation there, because I think fear is natural, but I don't think fear and respect necessarily are a part. You respect a dangerous man because he's dangerous, and because of that respect, he's probably the nicest guy you ever deal with. If you're fearful of somebody, a lot of times that fear engenders them to act more in that whatever that way is, acting out or whatever, because you're acting afraid of them, and so it's kind of like adding fuel to the fire. So I mean, yeah, we all have fear. I think what we need is just a natural respect of ourselves, so we're not fearful of the challenges of the world around us. We know we can handle our business, but we're more respectful of ourselves because we know that we can handle those things, and so we're not really acting from fear. Because I think, like, to your point, nice guys are acting from fear. Their whole basis is they're afraid of being seen. They're afraid that they're not man enough. They're afraid that they can't handle the world or their women. So they're just acting out of fear versus a healthy respect of themselves and others in the world.
I want modern feminism to fear this show. I do. Because I want modern feminism that says, ladies, you got to be independent. You don't need no man. You can do it all by yourself. And all this, putting all these weird fake expectations on women that's unhealthy and all this other kind of stuff. And men, I mean, that needs to control men and needs to, bleeding all over men that didn't cut them. I want modern feminism to be afraid of what this show represents.
And that's a great point, because I think even the feedback we received was from someone who was traumatized, who still has a open wound, who hasn't really healed it, even though they say they have, and they're bleeding on us. Because if this show triggers you, even though we're talking about how to find healthy men, how to be a healthy man, how to respond and respect and gain the love and companionship of a healthy man, if what we say triggers you, you may have trauma that you need to heal and deal with. Because what tends to happen is when something triggers you, it's either because you believe it's true or you're afraid it's true. And those things are because there's some trauma within you that you haven't dealt with. And so you think that your way is the only way. Well, probably not. Not if it's, how's it working for you?
Yeah, the reason I want modern feminism to fear this show, I think a whole lot of women will get free.
Yeah.
I mean, when modern feminism fades off into Never Never Land, I think a lot of women get free from unrealistic expectations of who they are. I think a lot of men get free from, being labeled as misogynistic and the patriarchy when most of us are neither. So I want that fear out there. And I don't, quite honestly, if you're a modern feminist, I really don't care what you have to say. I really don't. I mean, I'll hear it, I'll listen to it, and like we've given feedback to people. If we ever say thank you for your feedback, if we ever say just thank you for your feedback, especially after you've given us a lot of in-depth stuff that we didn't ask for,
kick bricks. We don't care. I mean, we'll listen to it, but no. And I mean, I would love for modern feminists to respect us. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I would rather they fear us, because we are going against their grain. We're actually wanting to have healthy relationships and healthy masculinity and healthy femininity.
Yeah.
And that's not what we're seeing.
Right.
And, I actually saw a thing the other day where there was some modern feminists saying misandry was false.
Yeah, whatever, man.
Like, come on.
If that's the case, then so is misogyny.
Right.
Hey, what's not false is a break.
Right.
We will be right back. Men of Masculinity, KLDC, 1220 AM in a mile, high city and interwebs everywhere. We'll be right back. Man,
I cannot wait for the feedback. As soon as they say they hear, they want us to fear, we're gonna get it. I'm gonna love it. This is gonna be great.
I'm ready. I want the smoke. I do. I want the smoke. I want the heat. I really do. I mean, cancel me. Like, I would be honored. I would be honored if somebody said, "Hey, let's cancel.
Yeah.
Let's cancel him. Let's cancel them." Cool.
Did you see what happened to Andrew Tate? You know who Andrew Tate is?
Yeah.
He was the kickboxing world champion, and he owns like casinos in Romania or something like that. Like, this dude doesn't need anything from anybody. He don't care. And they like cancel him off all
for what?
Because basically he's speaking his mind, speaking truth, and doesn't care. Like, he has zero fear of cancel culture and the modern feminist movement and the modern social norms or whatever. And so he tells it like it is, and blatantly and bluntly. And they just went, you can't be on the internet, basically.
Dude, I mean, obviously we are nowhere near this level, but you can't cancel Dave Chappelle.
No,
you can't, because people have to care, and people have to be malleable to your opinions in order for you to quote unquote win. So like I said, man, I'm really kind of at the point where I'm like, man, I got 2 ex-wives. Hate on me. I mean, I didn't been there. You know what I'm saying?
I can't do nothing to me now.
I'd have been through the fire and still smell like the smoke. I mean, I'm just saying, dude. I mean, I've been through the fire. I get ashy. I mean, I stay ashy. But anyhow, so yeah, I'm just, I really, like, seriously, dude. Like, yeah. I mean,
as you can tell,
I done seen some.
Yeah, as you can tell, the quote unquote feedback has got us a little fired up, which that's we appreciate that, because it's nice to get a little fire and
It gives us great material.
Great material.
All right, speaking of
material,
we're the Mad Men of Masculinity. Super producer Nikki Nicole looked up like,
what happened?
did you jump out the window?
Did you jump out the window?
Did you jump out there? See, we tried to give her like little breaks of silence so she could see it on the little thing. And when we get quiet, and she look over here like we crazy. Mm-hmm. Of course, she can't see you; she only see me. So I'm the only one get the side eye.
Well, I mean, that's why she's looking crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there was a pause.
You got to make us sound like we went to the break. Yeah.
Oh, okay. She caught the pause. Okay.
So anyhow,
she caught the pause and didn't know what we were doing as usual.
Being dangerous, man. I just,
I'm a dangerous man with his mic in my hand.
I'm telling you, I just, Bruno knows he's dangerous.
Yo.
And I think, man, when we, you get a swag, do you, when you accept your dangerousness, again, we look up to NFL players. It is a brutal sport.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys, it is a brutal, even when they celebrate, it's brutal. I mean, they beat each other up when they celebrate, when good things happen.
I mean, it's bad enough when they bang helmets with the helmets on. You see the couple times where there's that one linebacker, the helmet came off and he still banged.
Yeah, Ryan Cushy. He got a big old gash in the middle of the forehead. So, I mean, man, these guys, it's one of those things that, man, when you're dangerous, when you're dangerous for something, when you're dangerous for your city. Here in the Mile High City, we want Russell Wilson this year to be dangerous for the Mile High City, right? I mean, and so, yeah, I mean, and so when you're dangerous for the right things, man, I think legacy-wise, you'd be celebrated.
Yeah, I mean, it is something. The reason we even wanted to talk about a dangerous man is because that whole concept is being skewed by a lot of the new social norms and the feminist narrative. A dangerous man. A truly dangerous man, a man who knows his shadow side, who knows what he's capable of, and knows he can handle himself, is really a good man. Yeah. And especially when he's dangerous for something, which means he's dangerous for his family, he's dangerous for his business. Like, he knows he can handle all those things. He can handle the storms of life and get through those things. And so he's not. Have you heard the analogy of the difference between buffalo and cows? Mm. So like they're doing some. I think it's because Colorado's the only state where we have both buffaloes and cows. When the storms come over from the west, the cows naturally in their pens will try to run away from the storm, which actually makes the storm last longer because it's going to catch them and go over them anyway. But the buffalo, when the storm comes over the cloud, they will turn and run through, and run towards it. And a dangerous man, a capable man, will act like a buffalo and run to the storm, or run into the storm to, number one, make it last less long, but also to handle that problem and to deal with it head on, versus the cow who's going to run away from it and make it worse.
And so I think today there is there is I don't want to call it an agenda, like maybe it is formal, but maybe there is.
It may not be a conscious agenda.
It might be it may not be conscious, but I think there is one for femininity to define masculinity, and to normally define it as something pleasant and sweet and controllable and boxable, and as long as you in your gorilla pen, then you're entertainment. Yeah. As soon as you get outside of that, then you're dangerous. And I think we as men, we need to own that thing. We need to own our shadow side, and we need to recognize our shadow side. And you talked about the whole metaphor of the pictures. It's the light wolf and the dark wolf. Mm-hmm. I mean, which one do you feed? Yeah. You can keep your dark wolf as a pet, but you feed your light wolf to go do good, and you can do your best to train your dark wolf, but I think you feed the one and you recognize the other, yeah. And then you let the dark wolf remind the light wolf what a gangster you are, and we can go kick some ass if we need to.
And actually that whole mythology was translated wrong, because the old Cherokee mythology, or the story, didn't say which one you fed. It said if you respect them both, you don't have to feed one or the other. You don't have to fight, because the reason they're fighting is because they're not being respected. They're not getting fed. They're not getting that energy. Mm-hmm. And when we deny that shadow self, when we deny and don't respect that dark side of us, then it's going to come out in anger. It's going to come out sideways and stuff like that. And so, I mean, it is a great analogy, which one you feed. But when you respect both and feed both, and you can utilize both, then you become that whole person that is dangerous to those who are trying to take from you, or dangerous to those who are in the way, or dangerous to those who don't want you to succeed. And so respecting both sides and being a whole person, being a whole man, and knowing I can handle business will make you a better man.
See, I didn't get the Cherokee version. I got the Slapahoe version.
I got
I got the version from the hood. Yeah, I got the DC version, Northeast DC version. We talking about feed the dog in the backyard on the chain. And so, yeah, I mean, I think I really, like I said, I have come to honor and respect my dark side. And I recognize that my dark side, meaning in my case, meaning addiction, has actually helped a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like that dark side has stepped into somebody else's dark day and has spoken life into that person's situation like they had never received before. And so to recognize that, to respect that, and to say, yeah, that does exist, and to give myself grace to the fact that I'm human. That's part of the human experience. And us as men, we gotta allow ourselves to be human, not defined by femininity, let alone modern feminism. Modern feminism wants us in a pen in the zoo, in a cage enclosure, and it wants to feed us at feeding time so that we get trained to be passive. And you can't let one of those lions go in the jungle. You can't let them free. You let them free, they're gonna starve to death because they're used to being fed, right? I mean, and so us as men, we can't become used to being hand fed by feminism, especially modern feminism, because that is totally gonna lead us down the path of just being little, just little
self-sabotage, self-destruction,
all that, and be weak men.
And that's why we push so much for you guys to acknowledge, accept, and integrate your shadow side, because when you do that, no matter what it is, we've all gone through challenges. We're all teenagers and 20-somethings. We all did dumb things. And if you don't acknowledge that side and integrate that side, then you don't have as much to offer the world. Yeah. But when you acknowledge that shadow side, I mean, I've seen so many guys who were in gangs, who've been in prison, they came out, they acknowledged and integrated that, and took that. And now when you have weathered that storm, when you've been in the shadow side in the darkness, somebody else's darkness does not scare you anymore. Yeah. It's when you denied that darkness and hid from it, and when somebody else's darkness comes up, you're like, I can't handle you. I don't know even what to do with you. I got to run away. When you acknowledge your darkness, you can be that lighthouse in the storm for somebody else because you've been there, you've done that. You can look at that person and go, I get it. And they know you're real. They know you're true. And you're speaking from the heart that you've been there, you've done that, and there's light at the end of the tunnel for them.
Not only do I believe that every superhero has a day job, because saving the world doesn't come with a W-2, I also believe that every superhero has a sad backstory. I mean, every superhero has some kind of in their origin story, something that's sad. As a matter of fact, that quote, my son ended up getting that tattooed on his arm. He has a sad backstory. But I'm like, dude, you got all the ingredients to be a superhero. And so I think us as men, we have everything we need to be the hero that the world needs if we allow ourselves to understand, respect, and to accept, that shadow side along with the beauty, the dark side the light side of what we have to offer.
Well, and that's why you need a wolf pack. You need other men around you, because men will understand another man's dark side. They will understand what you're going through because they're going through it too,
and not judge you.
Yeah, and they're not going to judge you and that's what I find the hardest part about nice guy syndrome and why they're so dangerous and so dangerous to modern world right now is because they actively avoid other men, and because they actively avoid other men, thinking that they're going to be mean or whatever and bully them, they don't get around men who actually can understand them. So they think they're all alone. They think they're on an island. They think they're the only one dealing with that shadow side. And that shadow side can be your strength. It's just like the orphan story for all these superheroes. It's just like the trauma in our backstory. That can be the fire or the fuel for your fire to get you going and light your rocket and get you to the moon. If you don't acknowledge that, you don't get around other men who can help you acknowledge that and make you know you're not alone and that this is not just you, but we all go through this. And guess what? Being a dangerous man means accepting that dark side and accepting that part of yourself so that you can use it as a superpower.
And I know I've been beefing big time with modern feminism. I'm still beefing with modern feminism when I say that when we drink that Kool-Aid says, again, we're all bad, we're all toxic, that men are dangerous because they've been hurt by a man, not all men, they've been hurt by a man. So to them, all men are dangerous. And you need to stay away from men, and you don't need me, and all that kind of stuff. Well, guess what? If we start to drink that Kool-Aid, then we start to believe all that. And I think subconsciously, then we stay away from other men because the messaging is that men and masculinity is dangerous. And I found just the opposite, that the more I look and hang out with good guys, just guys, but especially good guys, you know, man, I've gotten in some circles with other men and I'm like, dude, my life has changed big time because I'm in these circles, because I'm surrounded by men and there are a lot of good men out here. And I get to let go of all that negative messaging that I feel like a lot of us are being programmed with in our culture.
Yeah. And that's why we're here on the interwebs, on KLDC, all over Denver and the metro area. We're from Longmont to
Monument
and Foothills to Strasburg. We're all over the place.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. What's our 45-second sum up here?
So our 45-second sum up from my side is accept your shadow side, accept your dark side, accept that you are a dangerous man, and that is a good thing. Know you can handle your business, and if you're not sure, get around other men. They will show you your strengths. They will show you your weaknesses. You'll know what you can count on, and you will be able to, sharpen that iron with those men, and realize that being a dangerous man is a good thing as long as you're a dangerous man for something. What about you, sir?
Man, I say, you get on my nerves because you say a lot of stuff I'm thinking, and I always let you go first. So I don't get to say it. But I think, guys, guess what? Your shadow side is not necessarily bad when you use it towards your good. And so I think, to run away from that is detrimental to you, and you shouldn't. And again, I'm not saying you buy into whatever your rage issues are, your addiction. I'm not saying all that kind of. I'm just saying that if you recognize that, if you respect it, you can tap into that whatever power, for lack of a better word, and you can actually use that. And to the modern feminist, I say, if we don't ask for your opinion, and I say we, I'm talking about men, and I'm talking about healthy men. If we don't ask for your opinion, we don't need you to put us in a cage. We don't need you to tell us what enclosure we be best in. I mean, seriously, we are completely open to whatever kind of feedback, but I'm talking about on a macro level. I'm talking about modern feminism to healthy masculinity. It's okay to let us be men. Good men are not a danger to anything or anyone.
And we know the difference between the feminist movement that's open and interested because they ask us questions. Right. They don't just try to tell us how to do our stuff.
Right.
So if you have some questions, you want to know about our intentions and what we're up to, feel free to ask us.
Hey, you go to madmenradio.com and check us out. You can give us feedback and comment on any one of these videos. You can email us, all that kind of good stuff. We'd love to hear from you, whoever you are. We really are open to whatever kind of feedback. We just noticed some patterns and some trends that we need that are great show topics.
Just go on YouTube. If you missed part of this episode and you want to see some other old episodes, go on to YouTube to Men of Masculinity and YouTube. You can like, comment, subscribe, and you can let us know. Give us some more fodder and some more feedback so we can get passionate about it.
Shout out Crawford Broadcasting. Shout out Body Armor. Holla at your boys. Shout out Super Producer Nicky Nicole. And we will see y'all next time. Mad Men
out.